Come on in, honey. The lantern's lit, the veil's a little thin, and the wind's been dying to carry a few secrets your way. Welcome to Raven's Ramblings, where the shadows walk beside us and the past never stays buried, and a good spell can speak louder than a sermon. I'm Raven Nightingale, part healer, part hellraiser, keeper of the old ways and ghost stories alike. So pull up a chair and listen close. You never know what might be whispering in the dark. Hey there, my golden-hearted witches and grain-loving harvesters. Welcome back to Raven's Ramblings, your seasonal spell space for magical musings and practical witchcraft. I'm Raven, and today we're going to talk about Lughnasadh. This is the first of 3 harvest festivals on the wheel of the year. It's a time to gather, it's a time to reflect, and to celebrate the fruits of your labor, both in the magical realm and in the mundane realm, okay? So break out the bread, light a candle for the harvest gods, and let's reap the magic of Lughnasadh. So Lughnasadh is traditionally celebrated on August 1st. Some of the, sorry, my dog and cat are acting a fool behind me. So other names for Lughnasadh, we have Lammas, which is a more Anglo-Saxon word for it. Lughnasadh, I believe, maybe, is Irish. It's also the festival of Lugh, and it's also called the first fruits. So Lughnasadh is, like I said, the first of 3 harvest festivals. It's followed by Mabon, which is our autumn equinox in September. And then it's followed behind that is Samhain, which is, of course, one of our big ones. Everybody loves Samhain. So some witches celebrate Lughnasadh around the first full moon of August instead of on the 1st of August. And really, that's just kind of personal preference. They may feel that their magic is more heightened then, and it's easier for them. And sometimes it's just a timing aspect, you know. It just makes more sense for them to be able to do it then. Whatever. It is truly whatever you want. This is your craft. You do what works for you, period. You don't have to answer to anyone, honestly. Just yourself. So this is going to mark the beginning of the grain harvest. So this is when the first loaves of bread are baked, the first fruits are picked, and the earth is starting to show those signs of turning in on itself again, where it appears to die in a way, where the darkness is coming in. You know, when the time from the summer equinox, it kind of, or the summer solstice, you can see that the days are getting shorter, but you don't really notice it. But by the time that Lughnasadh comes around, you're really starting to notice, hey, it's getting darker a little bit earlier and that kind of stuff. So, completely forgot where I was. Oh, here we are. See, handy dandy paper. This is why I look at the paper instead of the camera. Hello. Because I always lose track of my brain. So it is a festival of Thanksgiving. Kind of like that. Sacrifice and hard-earned abundance. This is the moment that we begin to reap what we've sown throughout the year. Spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Okay? And that's what it all comes down to, basically. All these things have built up to these moments. You know, to reap what we've sown. That's the point. So the myth of Lugh. This Sabbat takes its name from the Celtic god Lugh, which was a deity of light, crafts, skills, and the sun. Okay, according to Irish mythology, Lugh held a great funeral games and feasting in honor of his foster mother. And I know I'm not going to say this right. There's just no way two ways about it. Telchu, maybe? Tailtiu. So she died after clearing the land for agriculture. So thus Lughnasadh became a festival of skill, competition, gratitude, and harvest. Lu is also a solar figure, and as his light begins to wane after the height of summer, I mean it's August, it's still very high summer here in the South. So Lughnasadh is a poignant reminder that even the brightest must fall. So even those the high powers and the towering things and all these great things, all of these things must come to an end. You know, the mighty oak trees and stuff, which are absolutely stunning here in the South. The live oaks, fabulous. But even those become bare. You know, everything has a cycle, and there's just no two ways about it. You have to hold to the cycle. Yeah, no matter what. So this Sabbath kind of holds a bittersweet energy, abundance and gratitude, of course, but also that first whisper of the waning light. All right. So harvest and gratitude. We're going to give thanks to the bounty of the earth. And give thanks to yourself. Give thanks to the deeds that you've done for yourself. Give thanks to people who have done for you. You know, always be very generous with your thanks. People need that. I need that. Everybody needs that. Everyone loves to be thanked. Even if they don't, they still kind of do. It still makes a moment for them. And I think we need more things like that in the world. Some of the other symbolisms and stuff for Lughnasadh, is sacrifice and letting go. So a way to look about that is the grain that has grown tall and strong must be cut so that others may be fed. Okay? So there is sacrifice in that. You're taking that living plant and sacrificing it to grow other things, other people, other plants, you know, things like that. It's also a time to release what no longer serves you. That is that whole letting go thing. And, you know, there's been this thing for years, joy calendar, maybe something like that. I don't remember for sure. But, you know, if you pick something up in your home and it doesn't bring you joy, let it go. You know, and I try to look at a lot of things in life that way, not just, you know, physical stuff around me, but people and hobbies and, you know, anything. If it does not bring me joy, why am I allowing that to take space in my bubble? Why? There's no reason for it. So, sacrificing and letting go. We're going to prepare for the dark half of the year. The light is fading. It's time to stock your pantry. It's time to get all those extra supplies and stuff, because, well, down here in the South, we don't have a whole lot of snow, but when we do get a little bit of snow or ice or whatever, everything shuts down because we're not prepared for those things as a community. Like we don't have snow plows and salt trucks and all that, so everything shuts down. So be prepared for that, and that's just mundane stuff. Be prepared for those unexpected things, and not just that, prepare spiritually too. You know, reset your wards. I just had a crazy feeling the other night, and about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I went outside and reset my wards. It was just one of those feelings, and I felt like it was time. It was actually a little bit above, or not above, a little bit before my planned time to reset my wards. But if you have those gut instincts, those intuition feelings, do it. It takes nothing to go out and reset your ward or whatever, you know. Take those moments and do those things. So that's part of preparing for the dark half of the year. So, community and skill sharing is also very popular. And honestly, that's extremely true because now is the time where we all start to gather as a group more so than we did during the heat of the summer. Does that make sense? Sort of, kind of. Maybe it's not like that up north. I don't know. That's how it is in the south. It's too hot to do anything, so everybody stays at home. But then in the fall, everything builds back up. So this is historically marked with games and competitions and crafts, which is extremely true. We start to have a lot of like arts and crafts festivals in my area. Go to a festival. It doesn't matter what kind of festival, you know, whatever. Just get out there, see those arts and crafts and stuff. It's amazing to see what people can create, you know. Or make some crafts yourself and set up a booth. Do it. Who's saying you can't? Don't let nobody tell you you can't. I am very sporadic tonight, y'all. Sorry about that. But thanks for going on this ride with me. And just so you know, I'm actually videoing myself with this podcast. And we'll see if I watch it back and don't look entirely insane, and if I post it and let y'all see how crazy I look trying to read through my notes and things I've written down. So we'll see. Anyway, back to Lughnasadh. Focus. Traditional practices and rituals. So baking bread, absolutely the best. I love fresh baked bread. I love baking bread. I don't know why. We never eat all of it because it's just me and my wife. And if I fed it all to the dog, she would be, well, she'd be 10 times the house hippo size that she already is. So, but I love it. There's just something very soothing about baking a loaf of bread. And I get to bring Ethel out to do it. Ethel is my KitchenAid mixer, and I love Ethel. Ethel is silver and beautiful. She makes me happy. I don't get to use her often, but when I do, she's perfect. I gotta focus. Okay, baking bread. It's a powerful magical act. Baking with intention. Sorry about that. Had to pause my video for a second. I had a sneeze attack. So, baking bread, it's a very powerful magical act, okay? Bake with intention, which is huge. I try to always cook with some type of intention, you know, no matter what. But baking with intention honors the grain and the goddess. This is a classic Lughnasadh ritual. So you can bake a loaf or grab one from the store. There's no shame in that. You do you, boo. If you don't want to bake bread, don't bake the bread. It's fine. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to get my life together, I swear. Bake your bread. Infuse it with gratitude. Once again, be thankful. Infuse that into your bread and then share it with your loved ones, or put some on your altar. And you can actually see my altar behind me if you're getting the chance to watch the video. It's my main altar. I have other little things, but that's I'm gonna be putting some bread on it in a month or so for Lughnasadh. Offering the first fruits. So you would leave offerings like berries or bread or ale to the land spirits or the deities. You know, just put them outside. If you put them on something that's biodegradable, you don't have to worry about picking the dish up or anything like that. I have a spot in my yard that I will go and place things on and just put it on the ground there itself without any issues. And usually the dogs and stuff will leave it alone, but if not, you know, it's not a big deal. They are part of, you know, the greater good or the greater beings, I think. So offer those things. Leave offerings of berries, bread, ale to the land spirits or the deities, and thank the earth for its abundance. All right? Another traditional practice, bonfires. everybody loves a good bonfire, especially going into the cooler months, right? So bonfires and feastings are extremely popular with this Sabbath. Community gatherings with food, music, and celebration. You know, that bonding time. It's amazing. A lot of people craft corn dollies, and this has been huge traditionally forever, I think. And some people still make those, especially here in the South. They're often, sorry, that's my dog knocking things over. They're often made from wheat or corn husk, and they symbolize the spirit of the grain, which is all part of this harvest. So perfect. Sacrificial rituals. Now this is symbolic. Let me say that again. Sacrificial rituals. This is symbolic. We're not sacrificing things like, you know what I'm saying? No, we don't do that. This is not a literal act. This is an act of releasing or giving up something that's meaningful as an offering for transformation. And some of my listeners that were probably brought up Catholic already kind of understand this, because this is something that they do early in the year for Lent. You know, that sacrifice of giving something up for those 40 days. It's supposed to bring you to a higher state of being, kind of thing. So, but yes, releasing, giving up something meaningful. It needs to mean something to you. Or the sacrifice, if you can see my quotation fingers, the sacrifice isn't as great as of an offering. Back to like the feasting stuff, host a witchy potluck. You know, gather your friends, feast on seasonal foods, share the magic of community, because Lughnasadh is about togetherness. You know, it's about being with our community and stuff. It's a gathering. It's a harvest. You know, in traditional times, when it was time to harvest, people would do that. They would all gather at one farm, harvest those fields. The next day, they would all gather at another farm, harvest those fields, and so forth. You know, it was community. Another thing we can do is reflect on what you've grown this year. Now, that can be literal or metaphorical or emotional. You know, all of those things are things that you've grown. So you could journal or meditate on what you've manifested this year, because that's how you grow things, you know, internally, is by manifestation. What are you proud of for this year? What are you ready to harvest and take into yourself and hold true to you? What needs to be released? Think about all those things. Some people like to write a sacrifice scroll. So if we're talking about releasing things, write those things down. All right, get you a pretty piece of scroll paper, or you know, a pretty piece of stationery that makes you feel calm and ready to let go of something. Write those things down on that. Okay, those things that you're ready to let go of, write it down, and then either burn it or bury it as an offering, and let those things go. And it could be anything. Maybe it's you want to let go of being sad, or you want to let go of being mad, or you want to let go of not going to the gym on time. Write it down. Let that go. Release that guilt. Release that shame, and move past it. That's the important thing, is when you release it, to move past it. Okay? So, now to our correspondence, which are always my favorite part. I don't know why. I like symbolic correspondent kind of things for some reason. Anyway, colors. Gold, yellow, orange, brown, green. All of those are colors you would associate with the end of summer, beginning of fall anyway. So all of those things are very important to Lughnasadh. Crystals, because I love my crystals. Carnelian, citrine, tiger's eye. Oh, I love a good tiger's eye. Amber, moss agate, and peridot. All of those things are very common, especially in the month of August, September. Okay, you just see a lot of those. They give you those warm fuzzies that fall is coming, or it does mean maybe I'm the weirdo. Maybe. Herbs and plants, wheat, of course, corn, barley, blackberries, apples, sunflowers. Sunflowers, one of my favorites, absolute favorites. Deities, of course, because Lughnasadh. Demeter, Ceres, Danu, and then this one is super funny to me, and I don't know why. This is a folk spirit of the grain, which is John Barleycorn. I don't know. I have not dove off into that rabbit hole yet, but apparently that is a deity that you can, try to connect with this time of year. Some of the symbols would be like grain sheaves, bread, sunflowers, of course, fire, sickles, anything to do with harvest. So, I mean, you could even, crazy as it may sound, you could use like an international harvester, which is, something that harvests corn and stuff out in the large fields. Maybe you have a tiny one of those and want to put it on your altar. Okay. It still works. It does not have to be only traditional, ancient type things. It can be whatever those symbols mean to you. That's the most important part. If it means something to you, then it means something in your craft. Period. And if anybody comes in, sees your altar and says, why the hell do you have a Tonka truck up there? You tell them mind the business. It's your altar. You put what you want up there. Okay? So, foods. Because everybody loves food. Bread, berries, corn, apples. Love apples. Ale, and honey cakes. Honey cakes are also pretty good. So, you completely lost my place again. Forgot what I was talking about. Alright, now that I'm focused again. So Lughnasadh is once again like a bittersweet celebration. It's very joyous in its abundance, but also aware of the inevitable decline that's going to follow. So the days are growing shorter, the air is starting to change, and we begin the slow descent toward autumn. So, a time to honor your hard work and growth. That's my dog again. Sorry, y'all. Honor your hard work and growth. Give thanks to the earth and the spirits. Release what no longer serves your harvest. And then prepare your heart from the coming dark. Okay? It's just, it's a transition time. That's it. There's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be upset about. It's just a transition. We're into another cycle, part of the year. Okay? So, reflection on this. Y'all, my cat is bullying my 80-pound Shar-Pei. Yeah. You can't get up here. You're fine. Alright, Lughnasadh teaches us the power of gratitude and the wisdom of release. Be thankful. I know the world right now is, honestly, it's just a shit show right now, y'all. It really is. And then that's worldwide. But there's still things to be grateful for. There's still moments that we can express gratitude. Alright? And as we grow in that gratitude, that also gives us the wisdom to release things that no longer serve us. All right. So we harvest what we've grown, but we also prepare for what must end. It's a time to stand between the height of abundance and that slow descent into shadow, and honor both sides of that. You know, honor the peak of it all, and honor where we're headed, the slow decline there. So take a moment to say thank you to the earth and your ancestors. Say thank you to yourself. All right? Tell yourself thank you. Give yourself that grace to be appreciated. Even if it's just to and from yourself kind of thing. Still take those moments. Okay? You've made it this far. You've grown. It's now time to gather, to celebrate, and to rest. All right? Okay. So, that is a wrap on our golden harvest journey through Lughnasadh. Next on the wheel is going to be Mabon. We'll do that one next week. It's the autumn equinox, where the balance kind of returns, okay? Where we're getting more equal day and night. And then we're going to start to prepare even more to go into that descend into the darkness, where the night is going to outweigh the day, okay? Which, personally, is my favorite. That's my absolute favorite. I love the dark. Anyway, if this episode warmed your heart like a fresh loaf of bread, share it with your favorite magical soul. Raven's Ramblings, of course, is streaming here on Spotify. Y'all know this. You're listening to it probably on Spotify. I think we're getting it set up on a few other places, but as of right now, for sure on Spotify. Give me a follow. Leave me a review. You know, leave me a comment. Keep walking the wheel with me. We've still got Mabon coming up, and then we've got Samhain coming up. And then we'll start to move on to some other things. Some general some general practices. We're going to talk a lot more about herbs. I'm going to hopefully get my camera and stuff like I need it, and be able to show y'all some of my herb collection, and maybe a little more of my altar and some of my books and stuff, and kind of bring y'all into my cave, my altar room, and kind of let you see the insanity that is my brain, because that's pretty much what I've made this room into, is what my brain is. So don't be afraid. It's fine. Nothing's going to fall on you. It's totally fine. So until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay magical. Blessed Lughnasadh. Bye.